On this show, we follow the money, and when VSiN decided to launch our own store, the smart money was on Shopify. Getting the VSiN store off the ground was easier than we expected, and Shopify's templates and AI tools had us look incredible and professional from day one. Zero coding required. Shopify checkout keeps sales moving smoothly, and returning customers can complete a purchase in one click. Built-in analytics, you always know what's selling and where your customers are coming from and how to keep the momentum going. When questions come up, and they will, Shopify's AI assistant Sidekick is there with answers so you never lose momentum. You can check out the store at vsin.com/store. And if you're ready to build your own, all you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin. Again, that's shopify.com/vsin.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Back at it, baby. What a way to go into the weekend. The LeBron news to kickstart everything. Fun show coming up. Eclectic mix. Little NBA and a ton of futures, college and the NFL. And we're getting close. August 6th, Hall of Fame game. And that means Kramer time. It's our guys' sports gambling podcast at Kramer Centric on X on the Progressive guest line. He got me into this NFL slot machine, which we'll do a deep dive the next time he's in studio. He loves it. He joins us now to go over some futures in the NFL. Kramer! Good to see you, my friend, as always.
Don't out me as a slot guy. It's a secret. No, it is funny. Me 10 years ago would have smacked me in the face today for all the slot play that I have.
Yeah, but it's a fun game, no doubt. And the gal on a $3 bet across the street at the gate with the Browns, won $140,000. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Let's start with the Falcons to win the division.
Isn't this the game every year? You look at the NFC South, you realize no one knows anything.
Yeah.
And you look at the long shot. And so you start there. And man, I am not someone who fancies themselves a Tua supporter. I am not historically a Stefanski guy, but I look at this situation and I wonder, is this the best quarterback situation that Stefanski's had to work with? Is this maybe the best offensive situation that Stefanski's had to work with? Is this maybe the best situation that Tua has had, considering he's had Waddle and Hill and some of these dynamic playmakers down there? He's going to be playing most of these games inside. And yeah, I look around the division and I understand the hype for the Saints. I'm not all the way there. I think the Panthers, we're already seeing it with injuries, have a lower floor than people are giving them credit for. And the Bucs are the Bucs. So that's probably where I see the most competition. But I think this Falcons team, which was pretty scrappy last year, we remember, plus 425 feels disrespectful. And I think in general, you'd probably be doing pretty good if you took a long shot, or at least a long shot position in this division. Perhaps it's a Kalshi play or a prediction market because you can get out of it a little easier.
All right, Ryan, I get the case. I understand it. Now I got to give you some background here. I've watched every game Tua's played. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. I was like the biggest Tua supporter you can find on planet Earth. I defended the guy to the ends of the earth. He looked absolutely cooked last year. Cooked. Like could not move, could not throw, could not play. I get Stefanski hasn't had quarterbacks. I get your point about the NFC South. It's a weird division. Nobody's any good. I like the Saints more than most. Why Tua though? Why all of a sudden now is Tua going to revert back to the guy he was with the hip, the arm, the lack of mobility? And did I mention if he gets concussed, he's done for?
The concussion angle is fair. That's always going to be fair. We can use that for a lot of players. Chris Olave is another one. I would say the reason I'm willing to be more optimistic is I think this team's going to have a pretty good offensive line, a pretty good run game, maybe the best run game. And I think Tua has been his best when he's been able to work some of that traditional play action. Now, I'm with you. The reason the numbers are long shot in the division plus 425 is because of Tua. The reason, and I'll jump ahead, Paulie, but the reason you can get Tua to lead the league in passing yards at 100-1 is because of what he's looked like. Now, this is maybe more of a bet on the structure of the offense and everything else around him, because we've seen quarterbacks get elevated with this type of running game before. But yeah, like I said, I was borderline a Tua hater. We do a preview series on the Sports Gambling Podcast where we talk about every team, and I did not expect to be high on the Falcons this year, but I do like those tail outcomes. I like the tail end of what this offense could be if things do hit. Now, the other end of that tail is pretty low. It's a pretty low floor because Tua and Penix might not be it collectively. And so I see the downside of it, but I also see the upside. And I think whether it's the division price, Tua's passing yards, lots of markets are being priced kind of more for the downside than the upside.
Make sure you send in your tickets to our guy Luke too every Tuesday with the tip jar at the pizzeria, because you get after it and you have some creative stuff. So Adam Chernoff sent in Brock Bowers' most touchdowns receiving in the first 3 weeks of the season. Where did you find this Genty prop? Tell us about this at a big price.
So shout out to the Green Book. DK they're calling those first 3 week, I believe, fast futures.
Okay.
They also have kind of these markets next player to record. And so they have it across passing yards. I believe it's like 400, something a little ridiculous, receiving yards, 150, rushing yards, 150. And I love these kinds of markets because again, you're playing kind of to these tail outcomes. And so it gives you the opportunity, much like first touchdowns, honestly, Paulie, to attack a longer price. And in this market, when I took this, it was actually 50-1 for Genty to have the first 150-yard game of the season. It's now 40-1. They play the Dolphins week 1. This is kind of a very boxed in angle here. I think the Dolphins, and no disrespect, JJ, I think they might be pretty bad this year. That dead cap situation is something we've never seen before.
Not taken. I don't disagree.
Defense could be thin. Yeah. So what if this Raiders team comes out with a strong week 1 performance? They get out with a lead. I think there's going to be a lot of run game in their future. And so the idea that Genty pops week 1 and it's 40-1 feels a little bit mispriced to me.
Yep. You explained it beautifully. It's under fast futures and they have passing, rushing, and receiving. And that's where you can find it on the DK app. How about, I like this too. Last team to get a win, Arizona Cardinals.
I'm not usually chalky with like fewest wins and things like that, but this Arizona team, I mean, pick your choice on how you want to attack them, whether it's the corny coach angle again, it's the quarterback situation, Minshew taking all the snaps with the ones, or it's the low floor of the defense, or just look at the look ahead lines. They are not expected to be dogs of shorter than a touchdown until week 12. They don't have a bye until week 14. I love them to be the last winless team. I think the current price is maybe plus 240, plus 250. I just don't, there's a lot of bad teams, but all of those other bad teams have short kind of, short dog, maybe an advantageous spot early in the season. This Arizona team is going to go a long time before they're a dog of less than a touchdown. And there's still a dog of 4.5 points in that game against the Commanders week 12. So I love this angle. I think it's pretty clear what the Arizona Cardinals are doing, and that's positioning for a quarterback next year. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, this is one of my favorite kind of chalkier season long bets, also because every week teams fall off. So this isn't quite a least wins for the season. You got to tie your money up for the whole season. I expect this one to be cleared out by week 7 for sure. And so, yeah, I love the Cardinals to be the last winless team.
Totally agree. I'm so glad you brought this to our attention because I'm very bullish on this guy too, Rye. I think Abdul Carter in his second year is going to look like a completely different player. If you look at the advanced metrics, his rush rate was really, really good. He just couldn't seal the deal on a bunch of these sacks. Now you put him with some better coaching. There's no way in the world the Giant coaching is going to be worse than what it was a year ago. I think they're going to get a much different player. You want to ladder sacks. You even want to sprinkle a little defensive player of the year. I'm about all of it. We're in on a big Abdul Carter season.
Yeah, this is where fandom meets me liking a good long price in the summer. I've been hammering this since 75-1. I think you can still get most sacks at 80-1. The ceiling is so high. Like you mentioned, if you want to talk about fast pressures, number 1 in the NFL last year, not amongst rookies, amongst all players. You look at after Shane Bowen was fired and Charlie Bolin took over, he was number 2 to Myles Garrett in pressures, sacks, hits, and pressures, and a number of other pass rush stats. His pass rush win rate was top 10. He's basically top 10, top 11 in every metric across the entire league, but the sacks didn't come. Why? Well, sometimes sacks don't come home. Maybe Brian Burns got a bunch of extra sacks because it was cleanup duty. Yeah, as a fan, not a PhD in film, bro, but a fan who watches all the games, there were at least 6 or 7 intentional grounding / holding sacks out there as well. So again, pressures tend to regress. Sacks tend to regress towards pressures. I love the idea of a more aggressive position from Abdul Carter and the defense in general. And I'd even say this: when Shane Bowen got fired and Abdul Carter, we had the news about the meetings and not taking professional life professionally. He learned a lot at the end of that last season, and he credited Charlie Bolin, who was the one defensive staff member holdover that stayed with the team. I fully expect him to start reaching his potential. And last thing I'll say, that corny video that everyone's making fun of Harbaugh for saying New York Giants. I saw Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter sitting front and center there. So I expect leadership, maturity, everything to show up here. And I love the ceiling of Abdul Carter. Play it any way you want, but I'll tell you right now, I have a mortgage payment on him to win Defensive Player of the Year. So we will be a happy. I will be a happy camper if that comes home.
Are you over 7.5 wins?
I'd say this: if you're handicapping the Giants and you like the over 7.5 wins, you like the playoff price, you like the division price, just play Harbaugh to win Coach of the Year. He's in the pole position to start.
He is.
If he makes the playoffs, he's probably going to win. If he wins the division, he's probably going to win it. You can get that still at plus 750 roughly. So you're getting a better price. You might as well play it that way.
What's 1 minute left? How about this bomb? 125-1. Cousins to lead in interceptions.
Brady says he doesn't want him to play. The coaches have said they want him to learn as long as possible. Kirk Cousins messed around and almost led the league in interceptions in like 14 games a couple years ago. I'm willing to play this one. I think Cousins is going to play well enough. I think they're going to win enough games with running the ball and him being a good enough quarterback that can he average an interception a game while doing that. And maybe we get lucky and Mendoza never gets brought out because they win enough games. This price is way wrong for a guy who I think is going to be starting for at least the first 9 weeks of the season. And let's just hope he gets the rest of the season. Because if he's leading in the middle of the season, we can trade out of this position or we can have a fun ride.
Great job, my man. Can't wait to see you in studio. And thanks for this NFL slot game, which you love. And good creativity here and imagination. Do good research finding some of these props. Thank you for the time.
I got more all summer, Paulie.
I know you do. I know you do. There's a good MLB card today. We already have a game in action right now. The Brewers are playing a day game. They were huge favorites. They're losing 3-1 to the Rockies. Brian Geltzeiler, NBA Sirius Radio coming up next. The fit for LeBron and Philly. Should they be the second choice to win the East? Coming up on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets. On this show, we follow the money. And when VSiN decided to launch our own store, the smart money was on Shopify. Getting the VSiN store off the ground was easier than we expected, and Shopify's templates and AI tools had us look incredible and professional from day one. Zero coding required. Shopify checkout keeps sales moving smoothly, and returning customers can complete a purchase in one click. Built-in analytics, you always know what's selling and where your customers are coming from and how to keep the momentum going. When questions come up, and they will, Shopify's AI assistant Sidekick is there with answers so you never lose momentum. You can check out the store at vsin.com/store. And if you're ready to build your own, all you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin. Again, that's shopify.com/vsin.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
For more on the LeBron news, we talked to our guy Brian Geltzeiler at BGeltz NBA on X, Sirius XM NBA Radio on the Progressive Guest Line. You thought it's a great basketball fit, my man. What do you think of LeBron to Philly and if it's going to work?
I think it's going to work. Listen, the thing about LeBron being in Philly, and I've said this a bunch of times today in a bunch of interviews I've done, there's very few players we've seen in the history of the sport that have been better connective tissue to pull other players together than LeBron James. LeBron is not a guy that steps in here and needs 20 shots a game. He doesn't care. He wants to win. Mm-hmm. And, one of the things that you looked at with Philly before this is Maxey is not a guy that you want to have to worry about being a distributor. He is a killer. He is so fast, so tough in transition, shoots well off the dribble. You now have a situation where you have a guy that's going to put the ball in Maxey's hands on the move in spots that Maxey likes, get out and transition with him. Instead of Maxey running breaks, Maxey's now filling lanes for LeBron running breaks. So he pulls all of this together so nicely and so well. Here's the other thing you got to remember. They don't need LeBron and Embiid to play more than 45 or 50 regular season games to win a lot of regular season games with Jaylen Brown, Maxey, and Edgecombe on that team. The health thing is not a quantity thing with LeBron and Embiid. It's not how many games they play this year. It's when they're healthy. If they're healthy in time and conditioned enough and have played enough games to start the playoffs in a good place, this team's brutal. This team's so dangerous and so tough to match up with. And listen, right now, the Knicks are the champions until they're not. But this was yesterday, the Sixers did not match up all that well with the New York Knicks. Today, they match up really well with them.
I think that's totally fair, Bri. But there's now a lot of questions for the other guys is what their role going to be and how is it going to look. LeBron, I'm with you. He's going to figure it out. He'll take less shots. He'll do what needs to be done. He's going to be a team guy. He's always been a team guy. As far as one individual on Philly, where they're going to have to really have a come to Jesus moment on how their role is drastically going to change, who is the guy you're looking at?
Jaylen Brown. I kind of feel like you were leading me that way, Johnny. Okay, Jaylen Brown is that guy. Listen, Edgecombe's a young player. It's his second year in the league. He's being a complimentary piece on a team like this is a gift from God for this kid. Joel Embiid, in and out of the lineup sometimes, but he's already deferred it to Maxey. He's already kind of turned it over to Maxey as being the main guy on this team. So it's not going to be him. Jaylen Brown was just a lead dog on a team that won 56 regular season games and made it very clear that getting out of there was about having his own team. This ain't his team. Yeah. And Jaylen Brown's going to see his shot numbers go down. He is going to see, his usage go down. He is going to be used more as a defender than he has been in the past and have to take on tough responsibilities there because he's going to have less offensive responsibility. But this is what I will say. LeBron is a due diligence guy. And this took a lot of time, guys. And the time delay didn't bother me in the slightest. This took a lot of time. We've heard already, Maxey's a clutch client. Maxey's thrilled. We know he's had conversations with Embiid. I haven't seen it reported anywhere. I'd be shocked if he hasn't talked to Jaylen Brown. And with an understanding of we have a chance to do something special together. And listen, LeBron, there's one organization in the NBA that LeBron despises, and it's the Boston Celtics. Yep. And if the pitch to Jaylen Brown for me to come there is we get to stick it up to Celtics, together, Jaylen Brown's all in. So I'm not terribly concerned about all that. Listen, could we have some stories in January and February? Brown's bum with touches, Brown's bum with shots. Yeah, if they lose a couple games in a row, that'll happen. But I think in the end, the connective tissue of LeBron and what they can be in the playoffs, I think that's going to kind of rule the day here. And I think Jaylen Brown knows what he's in for with this group. And I think this is a different challenge and a different kind of situation. And I think they'd all love to go win there.
How much credit do you give Bob Myers and also Mike Gansey, the new president who was with LeBron in 2016 in Cleveland?
I give them both a lot of credit. Listen, Gansey has the title, and Gansey's out beating the bushes getting things done. Okay, Gansey was the one that initiated a lot of those Jaylen Brown talks and held steady when they didn't want to put B.J. Edgecombe in a deal for him, and he was able to get it done. None of this happens. The Jaylen Brown trade, and LeBron signing doesn't happen without Bob Myers. Everything that is happening there is running through Bob Myers. And yes, Myers doesn't have to be there every day because Mike Gansey's a really, really capable guy. But let's not pretend Bob Myers is just sitting in an ivory tower and go, oh, this is cool. Bob doesn't get it. He's too competitive a guy to be involved here and have his name on it, to not be involved every single day. And in a move like this, Bob Myers' cachet as a championship team president carries a ton of weight with LeBron James in terms of him deciding to do this. Keep this in mind, guys. He was with Ganzi in 2016 in Cleveland. Myers won 4 championships and 6 finals appearances at the president of the Golden State Warriors. Okay, so you have that. And then you also have a championship coach in 2019 in Nick Nurse, who has won a title already. LeBron is going somewhere where there's a lot of people involved with championship pedigree that run that show, and he can identify with that. These are guys that know how to win. He knows they know how to win, and he's comfortable with this group.
Okay, Bri. Cleveland, emotional heartstrings. Miami adds Giannis, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra. Was it simply, hey, Philly gives me the best chance to win? That's why I'm going there? Because, listen, if we really think about this, you can't write a better chapter in Cleveland than your last one. You can't write a better chapter in Miami than your last one. At the end of the day, even with those factors being in play, this came down to winning, right?
Yes, it did. And listen, there was pull in all those other 3 places, John. With Cleveland, it was the sentimentality. But in the end, you have this incredible legacy of having brought a title there. You run the risk of tarnishing a little bit if things go bad. So I could see where maybe you want to shy away from that a little bit. The Golden State situation provided one thing and one thing only: proximity to home in L.A. It was going to be fun to play with Curry and Draymond and Porzingis. That would be a blast, except for one thing. You weren't winning anything there. And LeBron, in the end, if he's going to do this, it's not going to be for fun. The fun part's winning. The fun part's competing and taking it to the end and having a chance. And LeBron leading the Lakers to a series win last year gave them a taste of that, and he wants it back. The Miami situation I thought could be attractive to him because there was a larger role in there for him. But I do think there's something LeBron didn't say here that's very, very important that we can see in this Philly decision. LeBron didn't start the season last year. He wasn't eligible for any awards. What did he play, like 55, 58 games? LeBron wanted to go somewhere where the team wasn't going to be at a major regular season deficit if he only plays 50. And he's not going to say that, but that's part of the evaluation process. And I said it earlier. Philly's going to be really. Jaylen Brown led a team to 56 wins last year. They have Brown and Maxey. They can go win 52 to 55 games with LeBron playing 50 games and be playing 40. Like, they're capable of doing that. And that sets LeBron up to be able to rest when he wants to rest and take a couple of nights off here and there. So, yes, it was about basketball. It was also about a self-awareness of who LeBron James is at this stage in his career and where he can go make the most impact towards winning a championship.
Don't you think the Cavs blew it, though, by making the Harden trade or by not moving Mobley for a piece?
So, all right, first of all, I would never have moved Mobley for a piece. I'd be moving Allen.
Okay, all right.
I would, and I think they tried to, and they couldn't. There is a major roster construction issue there. It is not built well. They have talent, but it's not built well. Let me explain something about the Harden trade, which is important. They wanted to be able to offer LeBron a couple of extra bucks, and that's one of the reasons they made the Garland for Harden trade, because Harden opted out of the deal and was willing to take less if LeBron came there and be able to pay him a couple of extra bucks. So the Harden trade, actually, they did to try to get LeBron and see if they could help out with that. And now that you didn't get him and made that trade and traded 26 for 36, it's an epic failure. And let's see what else they're able to do if they can land on their feet with a DeMar DeRozan or somebody like that here and see if they can get Harden to take less for something like that. But I don't think Cleveland totally blew it. Listen, I think it's one of those things. The 3 teams that didn't get him didn't blow it. It was out of their control. They made the best pitch they could, and they couldn't do it. I think the Garland trade was a bad trade, whether you get LeBron or don't get LeBron.
Great to talk to you, my man. Appreciate the time. I know you're busy. Have a good weekend. You are the best.
It is always my pleasure, guys, with you two. Take care and have a great weekend, gentlemen.
All right. Brian Geltzeiler at Geltz NBA on X, Sirius NBA. If you're betting at Circa Sportsbook for a limited time, you can fund your wagers and contest entries with crypto using BurraPay. Pay no BurraPay transaction fees. Fast, secure, and other ways Circa continues to innovate for sports bettors. Visit BurraPay.com to learn more. Take advantage of fee-free crypto wagering before August 31st, exclusively at the Circa Sportsbook here at Circa Resort and Casino. BurraPay transaction fees waived as part of the campaign. Stando Cryptocurrency Network and exchange fees may apply. Plus 350 to win the East, 2-1 to win the division, 9-1 to win the title. Third choice, tied with the Knicks. Big move today. 8.9% to go to Philly on Kelce today in a $220 million market. I was stunned this morning, JJ. Shocked at the news.
I think it's awesome for the league, though. It's
Yeah,
such a fascinating storyline.
Yeah.
Philly now alive and well, and if it's a Knicks-Sixer playoff series, I can't wait to bet against the Sixers.
You got it. Great MLB card coming up next. I'll make the case to go against the Red Sox.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. Good to have you. One game going on right now. Rockies lead the Brewers 4-1, bottom of the fifth. Rockies 250 in play, 9.5 for the total. Very good card today in MLB, and we'll spend the next 20 minutes attacking it with a lot of rat lines, as JJ would say. I'm going to make the case to go against Boston. Number one, it seems like when a team's on a long winning streak and it comes to an end, there's another loss right after it. But it's Sandoval, who's $1.25 against you, Savage. And I know we've been all over ripping Toronto all year long, especially in the last week, and rightfully so. They are buying in. They're loving it in Beantown. The last game, game 2 of the doubleheader, largest crowd, regular season game in Boston since 2016. But Toronto is 23-9 at Fenway, going back the last few years. 5-1 the last 6 in Fenway. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. They hit the ball well. They score. The pitching's been great. They've owned Boston, and I like you, Savage, over Sandoval as well, JJ. It's also like, hey, they've won 20 of 23. Why are they only $1.20 at home, right? I think the Blue Jays get them today.
Well, I'm right there with you, Paulie. That's a family play. When we do in pocket a little bit later on in the show, you're going to see the Toronto Blue Jays as a part of my card. You mentioned Toronto's success at Fenway Park. That's real. That's justified over the last couple of years. That's number one. Number two, this line has moved against the Boston Red Sox with a whole lot of action coming in on the Red Sox, right? Like they opened it at $1.30, $1.35. People coming in betting Boston, fresh off the win streak. Everybody wants to get in on the Red Sox. Yet this line has worked against Boston. I think that's rather telling. And I like the matchup of Savage against these Red Sox bats. I think that's ready-made to order. Now, I get it. Toronto doesn't score a lot of runs. Their offense has been atrocious all year. That's a little frightening. But I do think Toronto is the right side in the game. I will be playing the Blue Jays plus 112 on the money line.
Okay. The top 2 payrolls collide in New York. Dodgers 65-38, Mets 43-60. I understand, tough year for cousin Sal. I understand now maybe he puts blowing the 7-game lead with 17 left and Glavine on the last day of the season as most painful seasons. But when you have a top 2 payroll and you're 17 games under 500, it's got to be brutal. Dodgers only $1.25 on the road. Manaea, ERA of 9 in 7 starts against LA since 2023 in the regular season. Rat line.
Monster rat line, Paulie. The Dodgers, I figured, would be opening up $1.45, $1.50 in this spot. They did. And yet the line is coming crashing down to earth here. And I get it. Sasaki has not been good. I know he was really impressive in his last start at Yankee Stadium. But despite the fact that he pitched great in the postseason coming out of the bullpen, he's basically throwing to a high 4s, low 5s ERA. The way I'm going to attack this one, I don't have the stones to take the Mets. There's no way in the world I'm taking the Mets. And I'd push back on cousin Sal. I get last year's finish was worse. 07's finish was worse. When you're the second favorite in the National League and you're a seller and you're 17 games under 500 and you had a 12-game losing streak in the month of April and you're basically dead on arrival for the entire season, it doesn't get worse than that. Not with this payroll. But it's not the team I root for. Paulie, I like runs in this game. I don't think Manaea is slowing down this Dodger lineup. And I think the Mets are going to be able to score some runs. Met offense been a little bit better here. Bichette's been a little bit better. Lindor's been a little bit better. I think we have runs. I like the over of 9. And if you want to keep an eye on a player prop, Tommy Edman. Remember, these teams matched up in the NLCS 2 years ago. Tommy Edman was the NLCS MVP. He rakes against Sean Manaea. His numbers against Sean Manaea this year are absolutely positively absurd. So my advice to anybody out there, whatever you like, take Edman to get a hit, take him over total bases. He's going to get the at-bats despite the fact he hits down in the order. He's not coming out of the game. I think it's a big night for Tommy Edman.
All right, Yankee fan. Cam Schlittler plus 120 on the road against the Phillies and Luzardo. He's got the best road ERA in baseball, 7-2 with a 1.18. And Luzardo has an ERA of 6 at home. His splits are incredible. He's got the 8th worst home ERA. He's got a 1.38 on the road. Your guy plus 120 here, and he's got the best ERA on the road.
Paulie, this line makes absolutely no sense. No sense. Listen, I know that there are very, very short people and smart people that do this. That it's way above my pay grade. I don't have a job setting lines. I just sit here and I have a pretty face and I talk to you and I'm loud and I'm from New York and that's what we do. However, how are the Yankees with Cam Schlittler plus 123 today?
Yep.
And I'm not going to question the books. Maybe they know something I don't, which is incredibly frightening. But Luzardo bad at home. Schlittler, I think, is going to go and pitch great. He's been great on the road all year. He's going to go and miss bats against that Philly lineup. Wouldn't you think, Paulie, this line should be like even? Or Phillies, if you want to make the Phillies at home a slight favorite, a minus 115, 105 spot? I'm not taking it because it seems a little too good to be true, to be perfectly honest with you. How are the Yankees plus 123 with Schlittler on the mound? I don't get it.
I can't get away from these Luzardo numbers at home, that they're so bad. You know, I'm with you on that one, and that's a surprising number. And there's a lot of games like that on today's card. Can I interest you on Tigers' run line? Skubal going against Way for Kansas City. Detroit 14-5 run, number 1 team ERA in that stretch. Skubal 3-1 with a 1.57 in his last 4. They're 17-6. Last 23 against Kansas City. And dare I say, a chance into a audition role. If they're going to trade him at the deadline, too, with Skubal. $1.15 on the run line.
I don't like taking run lines with home teams. It's usually a rule I have, Paulie. I can't talk you out of it. This should be a monstrous weekend for the Tigers.
Yep.
I've been hinting at this all week, that the Tigers are much better than their record. The run differential tells you that. They had a nice series against the Cubbies at Wrigley Field. They had a nice start to this series against a bad Royal team that I was high on at the beginning of the year. I mean, I could not have been more wrong on the Kansas City Royals. They stink. They're dreadful, dreadful. With a couple of really good players on the team, might I add. All over the fact that you should go on the Tiger run line. I think the Tigers minimum take 3 out of 4 this weekend. They might go and sweep the series. And I do want to bring this up, going back to Yankees, Phillies. Yep. Another good tidbit here from our guy, the professor, Johnny Massey. He believes this line is what it is because of the Yankee numbers against left-handed starters this year, which have not been particularly good. And remember, no Judge and no Stanton in the lineup. I still think the line is completely out of whack. Schlittler on the mound should never be plus 123 on the against anybody. Like it's Cam Schlittler. He's that good.
And you feel the same way with first play? It's a 4-game set in Texas. Seattle and the Rangers. Gore has an ERA of 8 in July. Again, they're in first place, but they've been outscored by 30 runs. Bryce Miller goes for Seattle, $1.10 in that range on the road.
I like Texas. Miller at even money seems a little too good to be true. Guys pitch great all year. But here's the dirty little secret. Seattle can't score. Seattle can't score. Texas has played a little bit better as of late. Both of these teams, let's be real about something, Paulie. Both of these teams are impossible to figure out.
Yeah.
Just when you think the Mariners are about to get going and take off and resemble the team that made it to Game 7 of the ALCS, they'll go and lose 5 out of 7. Texas, if they ever got in the postseason, would be a dangerous team with their starting pitching. They're a team that I can't put a whole lot of trust in. So in this particular game, I like the Rangers, but good luck trying to handicap the AL West. It's not fun. It's not easy on the ice.
Circa Survivor documentary's back and bigger than ever with $18.7 million on the line in the new Grandissimo format, raising the stakes. If you missed episode 1, catch it now on YouTube. Just search VSiN Live, and episode 2 airs this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Every agonizing moment of opening weekend, the early winners, losers, storyline shaping the season. Hellmuth, poker player Phil Hellmuth, Greg Maddux in the first episode as well. Whether you play Circa Survivor or love the drama, you don't want to miss this every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, or catch up anytime on YouTube. Just search VSiN Live, and last check, we're up to 5 entries this year for the Grandissimo contest, the big boy, over $100,000 entry fee, and they're on a record pace as well with Circa Survivor with all the entries, and you see the proxies are out there every single day doing a great job, and use Winner Circle proxy with VSiN, which they recommend here with the network. We'll stay with MLB. It's a good card. It's a deep card. Make the case for Arizona coming up next. They're red hot. The offense has been great, and it's a perfect situation without taking on a team who's got the worst home record in baseball. Get to that coming up on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM channel 158, live downtown Vegas, here at Circa.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Back on the program, Paulie and JJ. Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, rocking and rolling with the MLB card. A good one tonight, halfway home. How about Arizona today? Washington has the worst, the splits on this team. Great on the road, crap at home. 20-31 at home. Palmquist against the Diamondbacks, who are hot. 7 runs a game in their last 11. 9-2 last 11. Rodriguez, $1.20 on the road against Palmquist. Good plus price if you want to go with the run line. But the way they've been hitting and how they're playing so well and how bad Washington has been. Plus, we know Washington's involved in a lot of high-scoring games to begin with. I really like the Diamondbacks tonight, JJ, in this one, and I've also a fade of Palmquist and the Nats.
I'm not going to fight you on it. And the reason I'm not going to fight you on it, Eduardo Rodriguez for the Arizona Diamondbacks has been like a revelation, Paulie. This guy looked completely cooked. He obviously has dealt with a lot of issues from a health standpoint that have been incredibly problematic. Guy pitched to a sub-3 ERA and has found himself in the All-Star game. One of the real cool stories throughout this 2026 season. And yeah, you hit on it with the Nationals. They're a team, you want to go after them when they're playing in their home park. And when you get them on the road at more favorable numbers, that's usually when you could go and take advantage with this Nat team. Diamondbacks are hot. They're trying to work themselves into a wild card spot in the National League. I think they're alive and well to do so. If they can continue to keep scoring runs the way that they have, they will find a way to be one of those 6, because Miami has really fallen off.
Oh, bad. 9
they
in
might
a row.
be a team that looks to sell off guys. Yeah, they're a mess. They were playing so well. They looked like they were going to push maybe the Braves and the Phillies in the NL East. That is out now.
Yep.
The 2 teams I keep an eye on in the NL, Arizona's one of them. The Pirates are the other. I know the Pirates lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. That team can score runs. They just got to get their pitching in order, and they got to get Skeens back to being Skeens. But don't be surprised, Paulie. Arizona, Pittsburgh, that final wild card spot in the National League.
Did you do anything with the Pittsburgh game tonight? They're going against Boyd and the Cubbies. They have the 3rd worst record against lefties, speaking of Pittsburgh.
That was not on my card. Full disclosure.
All right.
Did not have it. That was that game started at 6:40.
Yep. Bad against lefties.
Kind of like the Cubs, though.
Yep. I know. I'm with you on that. Yeah, and Baltimore's taking
kind of like the Cubs. That was not one of the games I had circled, to be perfectly honest with you. I wasn't planning on betting it. You know what it is? Those 6:40 starts, they catch you. You know, like when you're doing a show and you're like, oh, smokes. We got a 6:40 here. We got to make sure we get this in on time.
Yeah.
Almost ran into that issue the other day with the Tigers in one of the games they were playing.
How about your guy?
The one I do like.
Go ahead.
I like Baltimore today.
Yeah.
No, it's totally okay.
Yep.
Baltimore against the Braves. Baltimore's playing good ball. They're back in the race. With all of these teams being super crummy in the American League, they could dare to dream about stealing one of those wild card spots. That's a team, if they can pitch. I talk about it, a lot of teams, are they going to be able to score enough runs? Oriole offense been pretty solid. Can the Orioles pitch enough? And everybody wants to line up and bet the Braves today. Not me. I'll take the Orioles at minus 125.
That's where I was going. Rogers is 4-1 with a 1.69 in his last 8. So the Rogers that was so good last year, now we're seeing him as he's been awesome in the last 8 starts and favored at home against Grand Homes. So here's the opposite. Team-wise and also kind of number with Tampa. So Washington, worst home record. Tampa starting a 9-game homestand. 35-15 at home. No respect. Total of 7. McClanahan was $1.20 earlier today. Now he's up to 140 against the Guardians. I think if they beat me, so be it. But that's a great price for McClanahan at home with a team that's been awesome all year. At home with Tampa Bay.
Paulie, I get it. But if there's a team that can kind of match what the Rays do stylistically, it's the Cleveland Guardians. They're very, very comfortable playing these type of games that are super low scoring, that are super tight. And here's what would worry me about this game if you take Tampa. Anytime you go up against Cleveland in these spots, and you're talking about low scoring, tight margins, that Guardian bullpen is lights out. It's lights out. So you're going to have a hard time scoring runs in the late innings of these games, which means you got to go and get to the starter early. That's the recipe to beating Cleveland. They don't hit enough, get to the starter early, build a lead, sail home free. Game's tight. I don't know where the rallies are coming from. And I do want to mention that Jose Ramirez is back in the lineup for Cleveland, which is a huge, huge deal. They're a completely different team when he plays. I, for one, would go the other way on this one. If I'm not planning on betting this game, if I were betting this game, I'd actually be on Cleveland tonight.
All right. Gusto goes for Miami. He's $1.20 against Marquez and the Friars. They've lost 9 in a row, as you've mentioned, and the season spiraling out of control. Get well time for the Minnesota Twins. Matthews goes for Minnesota. Their next 12 games are against teams with a losing record. And they catch the reeling A's, who have been awful. And a good chance for Minnesota to get well here as they're going against Lopez in that game. And one other one I wanted to mention, the great feel-good story with the White Sox. Davis Martin, $1.30 at home against Arrighetti and the Astros, total of 9. White Sox have been great all year at home, and I think it's real. And I think they're going to be able to, they can pull this off and either be a playoff team or win the division, especially how well they played at home. And Martin, who was number 1 for ROI for much of the year, now that goes to Foster Griffin after he had a couple bad outings and some losses. Can I interest you in the White Sox today at home?
Well, I'm most certainly not getting involved with the Astros. I think it's a White Sox to pass spot myself. They're one of the feel-good stories in baseball. Total in that game kind of intrigues me. Mm-hmm. Can I get you on board over 9 runs between the Astros and the White Sox?
Why you think that way?
Why do I think that way?
Yeah.
Because I think you see a Houston offense that's starting to get it together, number one. Chicago has scored a ton of runs all year. And just like, let's think about this for a second. Arrighetti's pitching a 4.5 ERA? I know Martin is throwing the ball well for Chicago, but it's a tough lineup to pitch against. You pitch it against Alvarez. You pitch it against Pena. I like runs. Warm day in Chicago. Right. I know the wind is not the factor that it is at Wrigley. Different animal, different stadium. I like a higher scoring game there. I do, Paulie.
31-17 at home, the White Sox this year. Great. Anything else on the card that interests you from a prop standpoint on a great card on Friday that I haven't mentioned?
Yeah, I mentioned Edman earlier. Kyle Tucker's another guy to keep an eye on. despite the rotten start to his season, and don't get me wrong, it's been rotten, and he has been stealing money for the first 3 months of the year from the Los Angeles Dodgers, considering how much they paid him. He's been much better as of late. And he is another one of these guys that has very, very good numbers against Sean Manaea, despite the fact that it is a lefty-lefty matchup. I would be in on Kyle Tucker props today. Edman, Tucker, two guys to watch in that Met-Dodger game. There's that. And I wanted to mention this. There was one more game. Oh, you went over it. San Diego and Miami.
Okay.
Paulie, you couldn't pay me to bet that game. Couldn't pay me. With how poorly the Padres have been as of late, with the Marlins on this insane losing skid, if there was ever a game this Friday baseball card that reeks of stay away, it is Padres, Marlins, 7 o'clock down in Miami.
All right. Your props at DK, Edman, 2+ total bases, even money. Tucker, 2+ total bases, plus 150 in that one. And again, Manaea with an ERA of 9 in 7 starts against the Dodgers regular season since 2023. We'll talk to Matt Eholt, little baseball and football futures coming up. And our NFL betting guide is out now. Whether you're betting futures, win totals, division races, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl odds, our guide helps you get ahead of the market before training camps begin. You'll find breakdowns of every team, projected win totals, best bets from the experts, futures analysis, power ratings, and more. Get it today with our football special, just $175. More value you get sooner you sign up. Full access, everything to do across every sport through the Super Bowl. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the real-time betting splits, DK and Circa, AI-powered prop projections. Head to vsin.com/subscribe now. vsin.com/subscribe now. A case for the Red Sox to keep this going in the future market, and maybe a fade of some of the New York teams. Excited to talk to JJ's buddy, Matt Eholt from the New York Post, coming up next in a good mix here. Maybe some anti-Yankees, maybe some pro-Giants as well. But from a New Yorker, a strong case for a Boston team that I'm interested in coming up on Follow the Money VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158.